In early 2023, after finishing the European leg of her Eras tour, Taylor Swift needed time to disconnect. Her team found her a discreet retreat, a secluded Victorian estate nestled deep in the Hudson Valley, New York. The property was massive. Stonework architecture, a lake out back, and a winding driveway that disappeared into thick woods. No paparazzi, no fans, no cell reception. It was perfect. Taylor moved in alone. She told friends she wanted a break from the spotlight. No security, no staff, just silence. She brought only her notebooks, a few instruments, and her cat. But the silence wasn't what she expected. The first night, she couldn't sleep. Not from noise, but from a strange sense of being observed. She chalked it up to the old house creaking and her own exhaustion. The second night, she woke to the sound of piano keys, just a few soft notes. But she hadn't touched the grand piano in the main room. It was covered in a white sheet. On the third day, things started going missing. Not big things, but small, meaningful ones. A ring she wore every day, her red lipstick, a notebook she'd written half an album in. She searched the house top to bottom. Nothing. Then her phone vibrated. No signal, but a new note appeared in her notes app. "You sang in my house. Now I remember." She thought someone had hacked her phone, but there was no Wi-Fi, no service. That night she unplugged. The lid was open, and on the keys, left in dust, were handprints. Small, child-sized, with fingers that ended in long scratches. She left the room, heart pounding, and locked the door. The next morning, her voice was hoarse, as if she'd spent the night screaming. But she hadn't. She was sure of it. Over the next few days, music sheets began appearing around the house. Pages of lyrics she'd never written, verses in her handwriting, but with strange, out-of-place words like moss and drain and remember me. She found one pinned to her bedroom mirror. The girl in red forgot her name, but the house didn't. She called her manager to come get her out. He drove up from the city. When he arrived, he looked pale. He asked her to get in the car immediately and not ask questions. On the drive back, he told her something she'd never heard. The estate had been owned by a child prodigy in the 1800s, a girl who had written operas and concertos by age 11. She died mysteriously during a rehearsal. Some say by suicide, others say she was possessed. Her name? Clara Swift, no known relation. But her music, long thought lost, matched the pages Taylor found in the house. Weeks later, Taylor tried to forget it, but the notes she found in her own voice, memos haunted her. Fragments of songs she didn't remember recording. At 3 a.m. from an unplugged mic, and on one of those recordings, clear as day, she hears her own voice singing, "I lived here once, and I'll sing through you again." She never went back to that house. It was sold to a private buyer in cash. Her team now runs background checks on every property she enters, and every now and then, when she records alone in a studio, the piano plays a single key behind her, even when it's off. In 2021, right before the release of Red, Taylor's version, Taylor Swift booked a private recording studio in upstate Vermont. a converted chapel turned sound stage that was supposedly untouched by the internet. No interruptions, no distractions, a place to get lost in the music. She went alone. No producers, no backup singers, no publicists. She wanted to record a few secret tracks, ones nobody but her would hear. Songs written during a rough personal time. The studio was breathtaking. Cathedral ceilings, natural acoustics, and a vintage reverb chamber in the basement. The caretaker gave her one warning: never record after midnight. The walls pick things up they shouldn't. She laughed, figured it was an old joke. On her first night, she couldn't sleep, not because of fear, but because of inspiration. Around 12:45 a.m., she went down to record vocals. She left the booth door open. Her voice was raw, fragile. She sang lyrics about memory, betrayal, and someone watching from behind glass. The recording came out beautiful, but when she played it back, something was wrong. In the final 40 seconds, another voice bled in, soft, almost whispered, singing in harmony with her. It wasn't an echo. It was a separate voice, not her own. She froze. She isolated the track. The voice stayed. She ran the audio through filters. Still there. The studio mics had recorded a second singer. Someone she hadn't invited. Someone who hadn't existed. The next day, she questioned the caretaker, who calmly said, "That happens sometimes. The chapel remembers songs." When she pressed him further, he said the building was once the site of an orphanage in the 1900s, and a girl named Lillian used to sing in that same spot. She died during a snowstorm, locked in the basement during a blackout. Taylor didn't believe it. She had the files analyzed. Experts found no trace of editing, splicing, or technical error. She tried to re-record the song a week later, this time with engineers present. They recorded it clean, no extra voice. But when she listened alone that night in her headphones, it was back, and it was louder. Not harmony anymore, but mocking. The ghost voice now sang twisted versions of her lyrics, the same melody, but with words like, "I'm still here. You're not alone. I wrote this first." Taylor never released that track. She left the studio a day later and had her team quietly buy the rights to the building. She ordered the entire basement recording chamber sealed off with concrete. To this day, she won't mention the studio in interviews. She's refused multiple requests to revisit those unreleased files, but audio engineers on Reddit claim the song leaked. And in one version, if you boost the vocals at exactly 3:18, you can hear a child whisper, "She's stealing my voice again."